Okay, I got the screws out of here. So we'll pick this thing up. Okay. And what you'll see is, oops, it's already out. What you'll see is this connection is, you just got to pop it out of this little holder here. And you can take this whole piece out of the way. So that way it doesn't fall on you a little bit later. So let's just get that out of the way. We're getting there. Now we can get the drum out without a problem. So let me get that crazy thing out and put it on the floor somewhere. And you're just lifting it straight out. So here's that idler we couldn't see before. Let me see if I get a little better light here. Here we go. This is the idler that holds tension on that belt. So when you have the drum, you get your hand back there. You have to force this back this way and get the belt out of there. It's not the most complicated thing in the world. It is a little bit of a pain. You have to get the belt the whole way off of here. This is the motor that spins it. You can see it turning here. This is a motor that spins it. You got to get it the whole way off. The belt comes out with the drum. Now, the reason we got in here today was these crazy rollers. So, a lot of noise. Where's it coming from? Well, I'll tell you where it's coming from. There we go. This roller, not so bad. This one, it's about the exact noise that was here. Boy, is that annoying. So, what fun. Anyway, we're in here. I think it's a 10mm bolt. Let me get a wrench, but you got to get a wrench behind it. I'll have to let you know what size that is once I figure it out. So let me get the right wrenches. We'll get them crazy things out and put the new ones in. But there you go. There's your offending noise. So if your dryer's keeping you up at night, that's what it is. Let me get. Okay, we're getting it. So this is a 10mm bolt. This is a 14mm wrench back here. Notice though, you're not going to get a full-size wrench back there. You got to get these little stubby ones. So just a word of caution if you're doing this. Plan ahead. Get a 14mm wrench or a set of 14mm wrenches. They're fairly inexpensive. You get them at Harbor Freight if you're going to use them once in a while, wherever. But anyway, the full-size, the full-length wrench will not fit in there. Now what's going to come out now is you're going to get a nut on the back side and two washers are going to fall down. There's one washer there. The other one fell on the back. So we have to be ready to put that washer back on, reuse the nut and also the other washer that's in there. And you can see that this seized up, blew up, whatever you want to call it. It's ugly, and that's what's causing all the noise. So let me get set up to put everything back in. I got this one back in without too much of a trouble. So, but it's not easy. You got to get a washer here, a washer on the back side, and a nut on the back side. So getting a washer back there isn't too big of a deal. You just put the thing up there. Yep, just left my light. And let the thing hang there like that for a second. Now you got to get that nut up there. Okay, so you sort of got to be the nut. You just got to reach up there. Up, up, up. Feel around a little bit. And you'll tighten it up. So just take your time. It's I may have made that look easy. I've done it a couple thousand times. But anyway, you got to get it on the back. And if you don't have access from the back where you can see what's going on, you sort of just got to understand there's something in there and you feel around for it and you put the nut on. So let me tighten this up. Not too much excitement there. Should go pretty easy. one, and I'll tighten the other one up too. So we're getting close, getting close to being done. Now, since you got everything apart, this would be a good time to take a vacuum cleaner and clean the heck out of this thing. We've had this thing for, I can only guess, 7-8 years, and it was full of stuff. So again, I've been in here before changing the front rollers, and I guess I should have changed all four at the same time, but I didn't. But I've done those on other machines. Sometimes they last a while, sometimes they don't. So anyway, by all means, take your vacuum cleaner, clean it up real good, and before you go too much further. You don't want to put it back together. You know, you'll find probably a couple bucks worth of dimes in here and such. So do that, and you'll have a lot happier dryer. Now here's the drum. We're getting ready to put it back in. Now you can see where the belt's been wearing here. You know, this little belt. This is your drive belt for the whole drum. So we want to get this, once we get it in the pulleys, we want to get this in the same zip code. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you don't want it over here and you don't want it over here. You want it running in this trough right here. The closer it is to where it's supposed to be, the better. Once we get the drum in there, we got to get the belt tension back on. We'll spin it a few times, even without the front, just to get everything looking good, because you know, you don't want to somehow twist the belt up when you get it all together, and then you just be tearing it back apart again. So here we're getting the belt on, and you can sort of see the belt when I get it in place. And this is really something that's hard to show you. I mean, there's no real way to get in here. But you can sort of see the belt right here. I got it in my hand. And you'll notice the belt has on one side, I guess I should have showed it better when I had it out. It has ribs on it, and the other side is smooth. So the rib side, of course, oh, you might be able to see it. The rib side goes towards the, you know, the motor itself. There's a little drive pulley back there. Then you have your idler pulley. So if you put your right hand through this corner and your left hand above the motor, you'll be able to get in there and get that thing correct. You can see the idler, the one that puts a little bit of tension on it. You can see it's in place right there. So we're good to go. I apologize. It's just very tough to show you how to get that thing on there. But again, you want the belt to track sort of where we saw it before, which should be in probably this area right here, you know. So you want it to track sort of over top of that pulley, and if you can rotate it a couple times, you'll see that everything's looking good. But I think the most critical part is to get the ribs, you know, in the direction. The ribs should be touching the drum itself. Okay, the flat spot of the belt, the flat side of the belt should be away from the drum. And if you got the idler pulley, the tension pulley, which you see there, like that, I think you're good to go. Okay, so we'll throw this cover back on here. Now remember, this had the keyhole slots. We sort of have to pick it up. You have to sneak it under there, pick it up, and drop it down in those slots. Got it in place. The best thing to do is roll your drum around a little bit. And now you can see if your belt's tracking right. See if you got any issues with that. But just roll it around a little bit. Everything should be fine. We snap this bugger back in here. And don't forget, we had one up here too, so it's probably missing a little bit. I think it's right here. We got our electrical, and these go to our control box, our control panel, so we're getting there. So, like I said, just roll this thing around a little bit, make sure everything works fine. You get your flashlight in there and look in, make sure the belt's looking good. I think everything's okay. You can maybe feel under there. Make sure the belt's not twisted. It's not twisted. Okay, I think we're good to go. So we got to put 4 screws in here, right? And we're getting there. So let me get those screws. Okay, here we got the cover on. We're just putting the last couple screws in. So we'll put these 2 in. And we got 4 up there, if I'm not mistaken. And it goes pretty good as long as you don't drop the screws, which I do. I guess we can get the door on now. Well, the door's a little heavy, so if you need to help, by all means get help. Last thing you want to do is drop the silly thing. Okay, we're getting close. So let me get that control panel back on up there. Nothing, I don't think there's anything too exciting there. And I'll get the top back on. That's a piece of cake. And let's run it again and see if it's quieter. It better be quieter. That thing, you couldn't sleep at nighttime with that thing drying clothes. Okay, all buttoned up. Got it back in position, put the power on. I think it's back in position. I didn't really check where it was. Pretty close. So let's check it out. Before, all kind of nasty noises. Now, I can barely hear it. So this has been a pain, let me tell you. I've done these before. It's hard to believe. I mean, in this type of time, I could almost get an engine out of a car to get this thing apart and together. What a pain in the butt. I mean, for the little simple parts that go bad. And again, I think it's just because it gets all kind of dirt in there, and it just causes grief in those things, and they just, you know, get dry and get abrasive particles in there or whatever, and just get ugly. But to get this thing apart and back together, oh man, what a pain in the butt. But anyway, that's the easiest way I found to do it. Like I said, the big trick I think is taking the top cover, taping it to the sides, because once you take that front panel off, as you'll see, that thing starts moving around on you, and you need all the help you can get to hold that in place. So, hope you enjoyed the video. If you're hearing nasty noises out of your dryer, this is a LG, of course. If you're hearing nasty noises out of your dryer, that's what it could be. So, it sounds like time for a new dryer, but maybe just some 30 bucks worth of parts, 40 bucks worth of parts, and it'll be nice and quiet again. So, hope you enjoyed. Bye.